update on plea deals extended to the 10 New York State prison guards indicted in the fatal beating of a Central New York prison inmate.
Plus, a national protest on Saturday against Elon Musk and Tesla making its own impact here in Syracuse with hundreds in attendance.
And a Senate filibuster underway as New Jersey Senator Cory Booker takes the podium. That and much more coming up on Mornings on the Hill. Good morning and happy April Fool's Day. I'm Maya Alicia. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Lily Coaches. Here's a look at today's top story.
Jack McGuire has new updates on the case of Central New York guards indicted in the death of an inmate.
Thanks, Maya. Yeah, plea deals have been extended to the 10 New York State prison guards facing second-degree manslaughter charges for the January fatal beating of inmate Robert Brooks in a Central New York State prison. Each of the guards appeared in court Monday morning before Oneida County Judge Robert Bauer. Although details of the deal were left out in court, defense attorney Nick Pasalacqua said that his client David Walters was given the offer to plead guilty to the existing charge with a recommendation for a mid-range sentence. Pasalacqua was quoted saying, "We've not been made an offer as I define it. We've been asked to plead guilty to the charge," adding that he believes other defendants received similar offers. A series of court appearances have been scheduled for next month so that the guards can review their respective offers and decide whether to accept them or proceed to trial. It should be noted that Brooks' death was ruled a homicide by the Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office. According to the autopsy report, his death was caused by compression of the neck and multiple blunt impact injuries. We'll be sure to keep you updated as this story goes on. Maya and Lily, back to you.
Thanks for those updates, Jack. We'll now go to Sheridan Truly, who has our weather.
Thank you, Lily. Mother Nature really committed to April Fools. She gave us spring for a day and then said undo. But let's jump right into our currents. As of now, it is 33 degrees, but it definitely feels a bit chillier than that. The humidity is at 78% with a 27-degree dew point. Winds are currently at 24 miles per hour with 9-mile visibility. Now let's take a look at the regional temperatures. Albany is currently at 39 degrees, Glen Falls is currently at 36, Fulton is at 33, Syracuse again is at 34, Rome is at 33, Elmira is at 34, Binghamton is 33, Watertown is 32, Buffalo is 34, and Rochester is 34.
Sheridan, thank you so much for that weather update. That was amazing. I loved your banter. Now, a Fish Cove in West Bell Plaza is cooking up an award-winning fish fry for Lent. Owner Mike Neville told CNY Central the business has been in his family for more than 60 years. The Fish Cove makes homemade clam chowder with fresh clams, thick cream, and butter. They are located on West Genesee Street. The famous dish is made every Wednesday. The first community fridge in Syracuse is now open. Our Sean Tesler is at the couch with how it will serve the community.
Thanks, Maya. The idea behind a community fridge is for people to take food they need and donate food they don't. The fridge is stocked with fresh fruits, vegetables, and dairy products, which is key to Weber because she says it can be difficult accessing fresh produce in Syracuse. Additionally, Weber says a community fridge provides something pantries cannot.
There's no place to go 24/7 that is open to get fresh and free food. And I really liked that idea because I know that life is busy, and especially if you add kids or a job or school into the mix, life gets busier.
Been open, Weber has noticed a high demand already for produce. She said that 20 different people and families utilized the pantry yesterday alone. Lily, I'll send it over to you.
Great story, Sean. Central New York has gotten a bit of sun recently, but the impact of a historic winter is far from over for farmers. Our Kira Syracuse visited one farm in Oneida County that is still picking up the pieces. Kira?
Yeah, guys, I'm at one of those farms right now in Oneida County, Sokoloff Farms, which suffered severe winter weather damage. Just last week, Governor Kathy Hochul requested disaster declaration just for farms like this across New York who suffered this damage. This move would allow them to apply for emergency aid.
12 made it out that day, 11 survived. We lost 27.
This was the reality that Cassandra and Evan Sokoloff woke up to about a week after the start of the new year. Farmers like the Sokoloffs experienced large amounts of snowfall in a narrow period of time. But the kicker about this year, there was no warm-up to allow for some snow to fall off the roofs of barns. These unique winter conditions led to tough decisions.
We were going to shovel the freestall, but we kind of had to put it on the back burner to shovel the building that had our equipment in it because it started to go down. So to keep it from going the rest of the way down and losing all of our equipment, we had to shovel that.
This third-generation farm lost 4 buildings total this winter, but the Sokoloffs are optimistic.
More funding, again, would be the difference between building what we can afford right now, which is obviously going to be smaller than what we had, and really continuing our goals that we had forth in the beginning of this year.
The farms in those eligible counties will have 8 months from the date of disaster declaration to apply for that relief. In Oneida County, Kira Syracuse for Mornings on the Hill.
After the break, a look at a historic tree dating back to the 7th president being removed and a New Jersey senator still speaking on the floor in a protest against the Trump administration. The Trump administration is making an effort to privatize the Postal Service.
Our Richard Mai is at the update desk with what this would mean if it goes into effect. Richard?
Thanks, guys. The suggested options are to either have it as part of the Commerce Department or to privatize altogether. Both are options that postal workers across the country have been protesting over the last few weeks. They say privatization puts the service at risk.
Privatization would allow big pocket people to come in and carve up where the lucrative areas are of the country.
But what happens if the Postal Service gets privatized? The short answer, privatization could mean the end of guaranteed mail service to every American addresses. Private companies don't need to meet a minimum service level for all areas. This would lead many rural addresses without deliveries they've come to depend on. It also affects more than just mail receivers. It could also potentially lay off thousands of mail carriers, part of the reason for all those protests. Looking back to those rural areas, the Postal Service says even though 16% of homes are in them, they contain about 57% of post offices. That means they service 88% of the country. Now, it's very likely that Trump would need congressional approval to privatize. Reporting live in studio, Richard Mai, Mornings on the Hill. Maya and Lily, back to you.
Thanks for that information, Richard. Good news for drivers. If you're hitting the road this week, you're in for some savings at the pump. The national gas price average is 40 cents lower than last year at $3.17. The price drop comes from low demand and weak crude oil prices. Here in Syracuse, gas is even cheaper with an average of $3.09.
Protests like the one in Fayetteville are taking place all over the country with demonstrators voicing their concerns. So, how big is this movement and what impact is it having? Our reporter Vinaya Johnson joins us live in Fayetteville with more.
Thanks, guys. So last weekend, a wave of protests occurred all across the country, all taking aim at Tesla and its owner, Elon Musk. I'm on North Burdick Street, where hundreds of people gathered in response to Musk's leadership.
Protests were a part of a nationwide response to federal job cuts and Musk's leadership in the Department of Government Efficiency. A crowd of over 300 people lined the streets near the Tesla Service Center in Fayetteville on Saturday, chanting as passing cars honked. Two protesters were Jen and John Duchinsky. They were in attendance because of concerns about Elon Musk, democracy, and how the U.S. treats its allies. But this local protest isn't the only one taking effect. Over 500 protests around the world have struck major concern for people who are joining the resistance movement.
We're out because we want Elon Musk out of our government and out of our lives. I mean, who is this guy? The world's richest guy? comes in and just starts taking a wrecking ball to our government? No way.
And this is not about efficiency. This is about reducing efficiency.
Protesters are sounding the alarm over mass federal layoffs, cuts to healthcare and education, and the targeting of voting rights, refugees, veterans, and free speech. As the movement moves forward, it's sparking conversation about who holds power and what people can do to make a difference. The protests remain peaceful, but this movement isn't slowing down. Another protest is scheduled for Saturday in Syracuse as a part of the ongoing demonstrations in the country. That's all I have for today. Live in Syracuse, Benaya Johnson. Lily, Maya, back to you.
TikTok is almost out of time to find a buyer again. A potential U.S. ban could be just days away. TikTok's parent company ByteDance must sell its U.S. operations by April 5th or face the ban. Potential buyers include former Los Angeles Dodgers owner Frank McCourt, Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary, better known as Mr. Wonderful, and social media influencer Mr. Beast.
And last night, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker began a filibuster protesting the actions of the Trump administration. The senator began speaking at 7 p.m. and has not stopped. Democratic senators have asked him questions throughout the speech. The senator said he intends to speak for as long as he is physically able.
As the Trump administration continues to tackle border security, experts advise those without full citizenship to remain in the country because it's not guaranteed they'd be able to return. Officials told WSYR that all travelers are at risk for having their devices taken and searched. Contents will also be downloaded. U.S. citizens have the right to refuse, but they may stay detained until their consent to a search.
And more on the Trump administration. Next week, a 200-year-old magnolia tree will be removed from White House property. The tree was reported to pose a safety hazard. The seeds came from a tree former President Andrew Jackson planted on his personal property. In a statement on Truth Social, President Trump said that the magnolia tree will be replaced and its wood preserved. Now I think it's time to check our weather for today. Sheridan Truly is in the studio with a look at your full weather forecast.
Thank you again, Lily. As I mentioned earlier, it's currently 34 degrees, but let's take a look at the records for today. In 1986, the high for today was 84 degrees and the record low was 7 degrees in 1923. Moving on to our 5-day planner, today is expected to be 35 degrees with a low of 24. Wednesday with a high of 51 and a low of 44. And Thursday, allegedly, is supposed to be 72 degrees, but let's hope that it doesn't trick us. Friday will be 53 degrees with a low of 39, and Saturday should be expected to be the same.
It's the Syracuse Mets home opener, a look at the New York Yankees' newly designed bats, and a preview of this weekend's Final Four. That and more on Orange Sports after the break.
Welcome into sports here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Maria Wainscott. From Yankees opening day to the Final Four being set, there's a lot going on. But let's start with the story making noise right here in Syracuse. The name, image, and likeness era continues to shape college sports. On Friday, student athletes had the chance to connect with major brands and industry leaders at the first ever Syracuse NIL Summit. Our Geraldine Paglia is in studio with more.
Thanks, Maria. NIL has been a newer concept in the world of sports, and many athletes don't know how to take advantage of this opportunity. The Falk College of Business and Syracuse Athletics joined forces last weekend to educate and empower student athletes on how to take advantage of NIL opportunities. With over 100 people in attendance, the event was not just for athletes. It was also provided Falk students hands-on learning about the growing sports industry. David Maloney, Falk College Associate Teaching Professor, believes this is a great start and emphasized the power of social media in shaping their careers.
This is teaching a student athlete how to be an entrepreneur, which essentially your Instagram starts to become your resume. And if you have 1,000 to 100,000 to 1 million followers, people are seeing it.
Valuable insight on financial literacy, branding strategies, and content creation was shared with attendees to help athletes navigate the evolving NIL landscape. Some athletes even got the chance to make their own brand videos. The key takeaway from the summit was the importance of education in NIL. Many athletes hesitate to build their brand due to fear of online perception and engagement. But as organizers plan to build on this momentum, Maloney is excited on how these events will grow.
I think this is just the beginning, and I think it's really knocked down a few little sort of hurdles because of fear from the athlete, fear from the coaches, seeing how they activated. And I'm hoping today all those student athletes are talking to other student athletes who couldn't attend. Man, that was really cool.
Maloney and other organizers got one main response: the event was too short. With this feedback, organizers hope to add more frequent workshops and activations to provide continuous NIL education and opportunities for student athletes. Maria, back to you.
Thanks so much, Geraldine. Heading now to Yankee Stadium. The team in the pinstripes is already breaking records. The Yankees' journey back to the World Series began at opening day. Our Jillian Schumacher has more.
Thanks, Maria. Thursday was opening day, and after the first 3 games on the season, the Yankees broke a franchise record with 36 runs in those 3 games, with 2 home runs on opening day and a record 9 on Saturday. The talk of the MLB after these games are these new bats used by Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, Austin Wells, Anthony Volpe, and Jazz Chisholm, who all homered in that 20-9 win against Milwaukee. These torpedo bats have more wood placed in the barrel towards the logo rather than where it normally is. The Yankees analyst department noticed that Volpe makes contact with the ball closer to the label of the bat rather than the barrel. Volpe said he's bought into the idea. The bigger you can have the barrel where you hit the ball, it makes sense to me. It's important to note that these bats are legal under current MLB guidelines, stating that the bat can't be more than 2.61 inches at the thickest part. Manager Aaron Boone said that they are always willing to try to win by margins, whether that shows up in the bat models or in the momentum of Volpe's steals. They have an organization that is invested and is trying to get better in every way possible. With these new bats already making a difference early in the season, we'll see if other teams invest in these torpedo bats or if the MLB will make some rule changes. Maria, back to you.
Thanks, Jill. And right here at home, baseball returns to the Salt City this afternoon as the Syracuse Mets host the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Raiders at NBT Bank Stadium. The Mets began their season in Worcester last week, splitting a pair of games against the Red Sox. First pitch is set for 2:05 p.m. And now, on the national stage, after 2 exciting weekends of NCAA tournament action, the 2025 Final Four is set. The bracket started with 68 teams earlier this month, and now only 4 remain, ahead of what should be a historic Final Four next weekend. For the first time since 2008, and only the second time in history, all 4 #1 seeds have punched their tickets to the Final Four. #1 Duke, led by National Player of the Year candidate Cooper Flagg, will face off against #1 Houston, while #1 Florida takes on #1 Auburn in the national semifinals. Phew, that's a lot of #1s. All great teams, but as we know, only one gets to cut down the nets in San Antonio. When Duke and Houston meet next Saturday, it'll be 2 teams with a combined record of 60-2 since December 1st. 60-2. And yet neither team is the top seed. Auburn holds that title. But here's where it gets interesting. Florida beat Auburn by 9 points on its home floor earlier this season. Safe to say that rematch might come with a little extra heat. But it's not just the players chasing a championship, it's the coaches too. John Shire, Todd Golden, Bruce Pearl, and Kelvin Sampson are all still dreaming of that first national title. National championships among the 4 of them? 0. The guy who led Duke to its national championships is retired. The guy who brought titles to Florida, he's coaching the Chicago Bulls. And for Sampson and Pearl, they've been chasing this moment for a lifetime. Could this finally be the year? Get excited. The most thrilling week of March Madness is just around the corner. That'll do it for us on Sports Today. Coming up, Autumn Ryan breaks down all things entertainment.
Happy Tuesday and welcome to Entertainment. I'm your host, Autumn Ryan, and let's get into the top stories of this week. Billboard's Women in Music event was on Saturday at YouTube Theater in California. The annual event honors influential women in music. From musicians to industry execs, many women received honors. Tina Knoll, mother of Beyonce, took home the Mother of the Year award. Meghan Trainor won the Hitmaker Award, and Erykah Badu won the Icon Award. The awards are still available to watch on Billboard's website. Snow White brought in bad reviews from moviegoers with a score of 1.5 out of 10 on IMDb. The long-anticipated movie hit theaters on March 21st, bringing in $15.2 million, making it the lowest-earning Disney live-action remake. Moviegoers on Rotten Tomatoes are not finding the movie to be the fairest of them all. One reviewer says, "I think the empty theaters speak for themselves," and another reviewer says, "Man, Disney spent too much money and spent too little effort. Far from magical." A group of Wendy Williams fans are hosting a peaceful protest today to honor celebrity host Wendy Williams in New York and Los Angeles. Her fans will sign petitions to support an end to her conservatorship. Williams has been in a court-appointed conservatorship since 2022. Throughout the year, Williams has done several interviews over the phone expressing she wanted her freedom back. In March, she was found mentally capable by medical professionals. Fans hope this protest will save her life.
That is going to do it for us this morning. On Mornings on the Hill. I'm Maya Alicia.
And I'm Lily Coaches. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday live at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.